What's up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past 48 hours. We do have a lot of big topics to discuss. Firstly, the first team captain of Barcelona, Sergi Roberto, is set to leave the club after the club have decided not to offer him a renewal. Of course, his contract does end at the end of June, and that will be the final signal for him after serving as a Barcelona player for over 10 years. We also have some updates on the future of Robert Lewandowski. The club are still unsure what to do with him, to keep him or to sell him and move him on. Again, his contract will be a big issue this summer. We have updates on Raphinha's potential exit at Barcelona, with Tottenham apparently bidding around 70 million euros for him. Deco, our sporting director, has done a big interview with La Vanguardia talking about the new manager coming in, on selling players, on keeping the jewels as well. Basically, a whole entire update around Barcelona's sporting sector. We have big injury boosts as well to Raphinha and Stegen. Also an update on Roberto Marguello's injury. A lot of updates as well on the La Masia players that could be promoted to the first team next season. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get to 200 likes in this video. Be very much appreciated. And also, if you're new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, before we get into this video is sponsored by Number One Foot. Number One Foot is one of the best replica football jersey websites on the market right now. They have a variety of different items at absolutely fantastic prices. For me here today, I'm going to show you guys the training kit from this season. This is the warm-up kit that the players use when they go out for training every single day, pre-games as well. You have here the Spotify logo. They have the club badge on it with the diamond as well. And I also have here one of the sweaters they have from last season. This was the Catalunya version. It feels like I bought this from the Nike store directly. The quality is absolutely unreal. The printing is fantastic. And of course, mainly the prices are unbeatable. And if you use the discount code BOY at checkout, you do get an additional 15% off your final order. That is BOY. Use it at checkout. You get 15% off your order, and all orders above $80 as well will guarantee you free shipping. So what are you waiting for? Click the top link in the description down below and get your new football kits today. Let's start off with the players that have been rumored to leave Barcelona over the past 48 hours. We've been linked with absolutely no one, surprisingly, so we're going to get right into the possible departures in the summer transfer window. One of the main candidates is Raphinha. The reports coming in from the UK saying that Tottenham are interested in signing Raphinha. I think also Sport came out yesterday saying that a 70 million euro bid was placed. Absolute bollocks. That is, if that's the case, I mean, no way Tottenham are bidding in beginning of February 70 million euros for Raphinha. I mean, you gotta be stupid to fall for that. But I think the interest is definitely there, and not only from Tottenham, but definitely other Premier League sides. I think it depends a lot on how Raphinha ends this season. Will he get, a couple more assists, couple of goals, maybe double digits in both goals and assists? Will he be influential? And secondly, what's Barcelona's plan in the winger department? We do, of course, have Ansu Fati coming back from loan. The doubts of the future of João Felix. We need natural wingers in this squad. We cannot just rely on a 16-year-old Lamine Yamal. Savio, who is one of our main targets as a winger, has just joined Man City, so that's out the window. We have, of course, Estavio William, but he's also 16, 17. You don't want to just chuck him into the starting lineup right away. So it depends on what the club's plan is. We need a left winger, 100%, and that's only if Raphinha stays. If Raphinha leaves, we're going to need a right winger and a left winger, two brand new wingers coming in. Of course, you can just bet on Ansu Fati, or you can give the nod to João Felix at the end of the season, of course. But if those two are not really convincing Deco and the new manager, then where do you go from there? So I think there's a lot of factors that, come into play in regards to Raphinha's future. For me personally, again, I said it with João Felix, I'll say it with Raphinha as well. I need double digits in both goals and assists. Once you reach 20 goals and assists, evenly spread out, I will probably give Raphinha another season. I think, he's struggled a lot with injuries this year. Last season, he was competing a lot with Dembele, but still came in clutch, especially with Dembele being out for like 2 or 3 months, I think, from January until March or April. I think Raphinha is a good player. I'm not too keen on his decision making in the final third. That's my real question mark around Raphinha. I think his build-up play, dribbling ability is all there. I'd like to see him, make some more 1v1s in games, but just again, his decision making in the final third is something that I'm not too keen on. But again, that's easily up there for improvement. So we'll see what happens with Raphinha. I think his future is very much in the middle ground, 50-50. He could be sold. I wouldn't be surprised. He could stay. I wouldn't be surprised. With Deco being sporting director, I think Raphinha will get a bit of that favorable treatment for sure. We can't really just deny that. To sell Raphinha, we have to at least break even, in my opinion. We bought him, I think, for around 60 million, 63 million, whatever the case may be. So I would not sell him under 60. He still has a few years left on his deal as well. Still a prominent winger. The numbers are still there. Very important player for Barcelona this season when he has played. So apparently the bid for Tottenham is 70. So that's, you know, in the price range that I would accept it in. So we'll see what happens with Raphinha. But let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on Raphinha and whether you would sell him this summer or not. But a player's future that is all but confirmed, especially since Xavi will not be continuing as the Barcelona manager, is of course the first team captain, Sergi Roberto. Alex Pentel from Relivo has come out saying that Barcelona have no intentions of offering a contract renewal to Sergi Roberto. The departure of Xavi, his great supporter and key for his last renewal, distanced him from the club. In the next few days, Deco will inform his entourage about the decision. So Barcelona have made up their mind. They will not be offering Roberto a contract renewal, and I think this is of course the correct decision, even whether Xavi was staying as the manager or not. I think if Xavi really pushed for Roberto to stay, of course he had to back the manager, give him what he wants. But now with Xavi leaving, Roberto stood no chance. And we knew this when Xavi announced his departure. I think one of the first things I tweeted after Xavi's departure was like, that's Roberto gone for sure. And I think it's the correct decision. Look, I've watched Roberto from when he was a kid. Well, I mean, he's of course older than me, but I've watched Roberto grow at Barcelona. I remember him being on the bench in the 2010 El Clasico in the Champions League. I remember seeing pictures of this little guy with the Justin Bieber hair at the time, thinking, who the hell is this kid? I saw him start in the Champions League against Bate Borisov when we won 4-0 in the group stages. I've seen Roberto's career at Barcelona from the start and now to the end. So I used to love, I mean, I still love Roberto, but I used to be a big fan of Roberto, especially in 2014, 2016. I thought he was a hell of a player, such a utility player, made great runs in the final third, was also very productive as well, goals and assists. I think that 2016 campaign of Roberto when he first moved to right back under Luis Enrique, I thought he was brilliant. Even the first season under Nelson Valverde, I think he played very well. But he slowly, of course, started to, you know, drop off, especially with him having vulnerabilities defensive-wise as a right back. He's very much a makeshift right back. I think he's had some great moments at Barcelona and some terrible ones. I think with the Club de Amigos leaving last summer, the likes of Piqué, Busquets, Jordi Alba, I think Roberto, honestly, if he was smart, he would have left them. But again, he did renew his, I think, did he renew his contract at the end of the year? And then the season? I think he did. I think it was agreed in February, then he actually put pen and paper at the end of the season. I think he should have left with the likes of Busquets, Alba, Jordi Alba, with the likes of Piqué, Busquets, and Jordi Alba. Just give the club a whole entire reset. Maybe he just wanted to have one season as the first team captain just to fulfill his dream, which I guess is understandable. But we will go into next season probably with Marc-Andre ter Stegen being the first team captain of the club. So we'll wait for us, you know, more confirmation. The official announcement as well probably won't come until near the end of the season. Roberto put on his Instagram, I think yesterday, that the club and the team went through a tough January, but now they're gonna push forward for February and hopefully to win some trophies. I do hope to see Roberto lift a trophy as a captain, but probably not going to happen if we're being completely honest. So Roberto, unlikely to continue next season, so we'll have a farewell probably at the end of the season against Vallecano in the last home game for both Xavi and our captain Roberto. Now, another player's future alongside Raphinha that is very much in doubt, but I would definitely lean him towards leaving Barcelona, is Marc Casado, of course, the captain of the Barca athletic side. Now, Tony Juan Martínez come out saying that Marc Casado has been called up to the first team squad 34 times until now, and he's yet to make his La Liga debut. The Barca athletic captain saw how Christensen jumped ahead of him in the pecking order last match. His future at the club is unknown. Keep in mind, Casado's contract does end at the end of this season for Barcelona, so the club either have to renew him, maybe then, you know, send him out on loans, or the case may be, or he'll just walk away for free. I think we're looking at him walking away for free at this point. I think Casado's a hell of a player. I've seen him play for Barca Athletic a lot of times, especially last season. I saw him, of course, play against Royal Antwerp. I saw him a few cameos in the Copa del Rey. I think he should be given a run out, especially the pivot position, where we're just now playing Christensen and praying that he does all right, and with Romeo being way out of favor. I'm actually disappointed in Xavi a little bit with Casado. He didn't really get the opportunity, but there has to be a reason for that. I mean, if you've come up, you know, been called up to the squad 34 times, you've not been used once. We've seen Romeo, Gundogan, Frenkie, and now Christensen playing ahead of you. There has to be something there. Casado reminds me a little bit of the Ricky Puig case, where all the fans really want him to play. Let's see what he's got, blah, blah, blah. But the manager is not showing it whatsoever. So we'll wait and see. It's still a long way to go in the season. We still have, you know, February, March, April, and May, so we might see Casado come in at some point. But again, I think his future is very much away from Barcelona. Now, a player's future that is at the moment undecided, but the player is pushing to stay at Barcelona is Robert Lewandowski. Now, Sport have come out saying that Lewandowski wishes to continue at Barcelona in the new project, and the club still thinks he can be a leader for the future. I think Lewandowski's case is a very, very delicate and one that we have to sort out before the summer comes. Next season, he will be on 300,000 euros a week. No, there is no way. Again, we're seeing him now improve over the past few games. He's coming out in the media saying, oh, I'm doing some new fitness training and blah, 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 and all this bollocks, in my opinion. He has not performed whatsoever. Where I do, favor the club side on this is that, look, if we let go of Lewandowski, we're going to have to go bring in another striker. Of course, Vitor Roque, you can't say he can be the starting striker next season. Marc Casado still not, close to being the starting striker, the one that we can rely upon for the next seasons. If Madrid are getting Mbappe, we need to have a very, very good squad to compete with Madrid in La Liga next season. And also, there are other priorities. We, of course, are crying and desperate on our knees for a pivot. We need wingers. We have to sort out our full-back situation, get some competition for Balde, see if we want to bring in Julian Araujo. We gotta figure out what we want to do with the Joaos as well. We're gonna, of course, gonna buy Cancelo. Let's be honest. What Felix remains to be seen. Of course, we have renewals: Frenkie, Araujo, Xavi, Pedri, loan players coming. Getting a striker is the least of the club's priority. I think the club, what they want to do is keep Lewandowski on, but hopefully restructure his current deal. If he goes into next season sat on 300k a week, and he's performing like he is performing this season, I might as well just put me up front. I'll do it for £10 a week. I mean, honestly, you're going to see no difference whatsoever. My finishing will be better, I'll tell you that. But nonetheless, with Lewandowski, it is a very, very delicate situation that I think, again, the club have to sort out as soon as possible. I'm not opposed to Lewandowski continuing with us having other priorities, but his wages have to be sorted out. He's currently sat on 250,000 euros a week. It's going to increase next season. You're going to have to resolve that in some capacity, some form. So we'll wait and see how things turn out with Lewandowski. I think the club are in favor of keeping him for sure. Again, he is that poster boy, that big name to put on, advertising and sponsorships and merchandise and things like that. You can't really plaster on, Vitor Roque or Marc Casado quite yet, of course. But with Lewandowski, he does guarantee you that. He does bring in, of course, that revenue from Poland and, of course, revenue from other avenues as well. So we can see how things turn out with Lewandowski. I think it's definitely in favor of him. There's a better chance of him staying than leaving at the moment. I'd probably put it at 60% he stays, 40% he leaves. But again, his contract needs to be sorted out. Let's now discuss some contract renewal updates around the first team at Barcelona. Just what update it is on the contract renewal of Frenkie de Jong. Now, before I get into it, I do want to mention this. We talked a lot about the contract renewals of, Araujo, de Jong, Pedri, Xavi, Ansu Fati, all these players whose contract expire in 2026, 2027. So you're reaching, the final 2 years of their deal where you want to start negotiations and all that stuff. And the reports in November and October, when we were talking about this a lot, it was reported that Deco's going to wait until the new year, of course, 2024, and start rolling on those. We're now February 6th. It's been a month and a little bit in this new year, 2024. We've done nothing. There were a bit of reports about Roberto mid-January when he was playing well. That was it. We've not talked to Roberto. We've not talked to Frenkie. We've not talked to Araujo, Pedri, Xavi, whatever the case may be. But finally, we got a first report on Frenkie, where Sport have said that Barcelona want to renew de Jong's contract, which expires in 2026. Of course, this is the correct decision. I mean, Frenkie de Jong is one of, if not the best midfielder in the world. He's absolutely unbelievable. I've seen a lot of hate for Frenkie recently about him off the ball, defensive-wise, not looking too aware here and there. I mean, the man is doing about 8 billion rolls in the midfield, so if he, slacks a little bit here and there, where can you blame him? I understand some of the goals that we've conceded with him lacking are shameful, which he has to improve upon, but what he does on the ball, moving forward, he's absolutely brilliant. Again, there is, the issue about his current deal. I think he's currently sat on around 300,000, 400,000 a week. But again, that was because of deferrals. He deferred his salary earlier on, and then into COVID, and then Bartomeu gave him the renewal where he gave him more money. So everything got really pushed back until now, until his final 2 years of his deal. So that's why he's earning a lot of money, not because Barcelona gave it to him in any capacity. I think he was probably on 200,000, but with the deferred that he deferred in COVID, and then the renewal that Bartomeu gave him, it pushes it all back, and that's why he's earning a lot of money now. It's not because that's his standard wages, so to speak. It is money that he's been owed. He's been taking less over the recent years, and now take more. But I think, again, we got to start that contract out as well. If we can reduce it or maybe even spread it out even more over the course of more years, that will help us with FFP as well. That's going to be important. But again, keeping a player like De Jong is always important. I think he's a hell of a player. I think he's, of course, the fourth captain of the squad. Once Roberto leaves, he'll bump up to the third captain of the team. I think he's very happy in Barcelona. Of course, Deco is very keen on the player as well. So wait and see how things turn out. I think negotiations won't be too easy to start off with since the recent history with Man United back in the summer of 2022. So we'll see how things turn out in that sense. But again, I think Deco really has to start making some moves on the renewals that Barcelona need to do before the summer window. Let's now discuss some of the news surrounding Barcelona over the past 48 hours. We do have some updates in regards to Barcelona promoting young talents to the first team, and one of those names is Marc Bernal. He's one of course, the pivots that are coming through the academy. There are a lot of links about him moving into the first team around November time, but the club really want to be cautious with this young talent. Roque from Mundo Deportivo has come out saying that Marc Bernal, at the age of 16, is in Barcelona's sports sector's plans for him to do pre-season with the first team and earn a leading role. He directly went from the cadet to Barca Athletic, where he was an important player, but now still has to finish development physically, but the club has high hopes for him so that he can be a new pivot from La Masia after Busquets. They see his ceiling in the first team. So again, the club think highly of Bernal, and they're now waiting for him to, adapt to the culture, the style of play, get his physique up, and of course, we will see him a little bit in pre-season for the upcoming preseason in July, of course. But he's not the only one, of course, in Barca Athletic or the B team juvenile A side that Barcelona are looking at for the future. Of course, we've seen a lot of them this season at Barcelona. Fran Martinez, Mundo Deportivo, came out saying that Pau Cubarsí, Hector Fort, and Marc Guiu are set to remain part of the first team setup until the season concludes. So we'll not see any of those three players drop into Barca Athletic juvenile A, maybe to help them get promoted or maybe to help them win big games or in the youth Champions League. We might see them then. Meanwhile, Xavi Hernandez, Marc Casado, Vitor, Cochin, Astrolaga are on standby and may be summoned if required. With Ter Stegen coming back, we won't need Cochin and Astrolaga as part of the first team squad. We'll probably see Ter Stegen, Akipenya, Astrolaga, and Cochin will probably be the first team, the starting goalkeeper for Barca Athletic. Unai Hernandez probably won't get any chances alongside Pau Victor. Marc Casado, of course, probably be in and around the squad list, but we already talked about Marc Casado. Wait and see if he gets any minutes in the first team. But with Pau Cubarsí, Hector Fort, and Marc Guiu, they genuinely have good chances of being first team players next season. If we sell a center back, I think Cubarsí is first in line to get that promotion. With Lewandowski's futures in doubt, we would sell him, or maybe sell another forward like Ansu Fati. I think Marc Guiu has a chance at fullback. I think Hector Fort is a bit difficult. We do, of course, on the left hand side have Balde. We're looking at either Sergi Cardona or Alex Valle to come in. On the right hand side, you have Cancelo and Julian Araujo. So Hector Fort might be looking at a loan if things don't go his way. Maybe even if Barcelona might sell him, like they did with Estañez and Shadriyad last summer. So wait and see how things turn out in that sense. But again, all these talents are going to be given chances at Barcelona because they've earned it, of course, from their development with training and, of course, with the lower ranked squads as well. So we'll see how things turn out for the remainder of the season. But we will see a lot of Cubarsí, Hector Fort, and Guiu in the first team squad. And keep your eyes on Marc Bernal during preseason. Now, the most talked about news around Barcelona over the past 48 hours has been about the appeal for Vitor Roque's red card against Deportivo Alaves, where Candacir have come out saying that yesterday around 4:30 p.m. Barcelona have submitted an appeal against Vitor Roque's yellow card, arguing in their statement that his tackle was not reckless, which is the only way to have successfully made an appeal. If the competition committee agree that the action was not as reckless but rather imprudent, they will remove the yellow card. Now, Candacir also came out saying it's going to be difficult to overturn this. I will bet you right now. Put in the chat, put your PayPal links. I'll bet anyone 20 bucks. This is not going to get overturned. I mean, we're Barcelona. If you think this is getting overturned, you are absolutely losing your mind. The fact, of course, people are going to argue, what about Nacho Monreal? What about Nacho Fernandez's red card that he had a double studs up against Porto? It was supposed to be a 3-game ban. They appealed it, and it was only a 1-game ban. That's because it's Madrid. Florentino Perez controls everything in the country of Spain. Fair enough to him. This is not getting overturned simply because we are Barcelona. Negrera case. That's why. That is keep it as simple as you want. Now, in terms of the referees and the guerra and all this stuff, Mundo Deportivo have come out saying that Barcelona's outrage for the refereeing decisions and treatment is growing in the match between Alaves and Barcelona. Alaves coach Luis Garcia asked for some explanation regarding some decisions in the game, and the referee Martinez Muniera spoke to him well and explained it. But when the end of the game happened and Xavi asked the referee about Vitor Roque's red card, the referee did not even answer him, and on top of that, closed the door in the locker room in Xavi's face. Barcelona had already suffered from controversial decisions in the match against Getafe, Granada, Rayo Vallecano, and Madrid, and also within the Madrid versus Almeria game, that was another controversy as well. So when the opponent's manager wants to speak to the referee, they're complying. Yes, I gave the red card because of this. Oh, why was that not a free kick? Because this is this. Okay, thanks. As soon as Xavi comes in, hey, I have a question. Door right in his face. And you know why this is happening? 2 words for you. Nigera case. The pressure on Barcelona, on the referees, continues and continues to grow, and now the referees are going to be showing favoritism to not Madrid, but they're going to show favoritism to themselves. They want this to all be about themselves. This is probably the most we've ever talked about referees in Spain in quite a long time, and they want all the attention. Yes, they're no ones. Do you think I would know? Do you think I would know who Mateo Lagos is, who De La Cerro Grande is, who Gil Mentano is, Martinez Muniera? I don't give a damn about all of them. They're all there because they make controversial decisions against Barcelona. That's the reality of it. Look, if this red card gets overturned, then justice has been served, and you know what? We might even see a bit of a fairism, if that's a word, in Spain, but it's not going to get overturned. But we'll wait and see how things turn out. Again, Vitor Roque's red card is still standing after the appeal. He will be suspended for this weekend's match against Granada. There's 1 game suspension for a second yellow red card. So we'll see how things turn out. But for now, it is all in the hands of the competition committee. Now, the second biggest story of the Alaves match from the Barcelona point of view, of course, was the experiment of Andreas Christensen in the pivot. Now, Sport have come out saying the coaches were very satisfied with Andreas Christensen playing in the midfield and considered giving him continuity. In defense, Kubrasis continues to impress and Inigo has returned. Christensen in the midfield helped all of De Jong and Gundogan and Pedri do better in their roles. I think, again, Christensen really had a slow start in the game. He was really, moving the ball forward. He's passing all the balls backwards. He kind of had he was just kind of facing Araujo and Kubrasis for that first 5 or 10 minutes. He said this after the game as well, Christensen, saying that I had to develop, get into the role first few minutes, get a little bit comfortable. I think when we moved on, progressing the game, like 20th minute onward, I thought Christensen did it all right, and he did leave that, he did kind of do the dirty work to let Gundogan and Pedri be more free in front of him. Now, of course, De Jong was playing alongside him, and that does help Christensen a lot, but it could be a new formula that we could use this season. I think Christensen in the game where he played, I think how long he played, like 70, 80 minutes in the game against Alaves in the pivot, was better than all of Romeo's games past mid-September, if we're being completely honest. So I'd rather see Christensen there than Romeo. Of course, I kind of want to see Casado in there since he is natural in that role. But if Chad wants to give the continuity to Christensen, I'm completely okay with that. So with us having, recovering some players slowly but surely in the midfield and defense, Christensen will see himself on the bench. But with this new position, we could see him starting a few more games, which of course will make us a better team and will also make the player happy as well. So wait and see how things turn out. I think that Xavi will play again Christensen in the pivot against Granada, against Celta Vigo. And if he does well in those 2 games, we could even see it against Napoli in the Champions League. Now, the most outrageous news that has come out over the past 48 hours has been the news about Pedri potentially being selected for the Spain squad for the upcoming Olympics. Now, Sport have come out saying that Santi Denya, the coach of the Spain's Olympic team, wants to take Pedri to the Olympics in Paris after the Euro 2024. I will say this. Spain can want to have him all he wants. I know that Barcelona are not stupid enough to send him there. I'm praying that Pedri is not as stupid as well. Of course, the last time this scenario happened, we lost Pedri for a fucking year. Pretty much with all the games he played in the 2020-2021 season when we came to the 21-22 season. Barely available for that season due to, how many minutes he played. And of course, he's still suffering from that today. I will say this though. If I'm, the sports manager of Barcelona, I'm Deco, and Pedri comes up to me and says, look, I want to go to the Euros and the Olympics again this season, I'll say, you can go on one condition. Sign that new deal. Renew your contract until 2030. Take a little bit of less wages because we're taking a big risk on you because you're going to be very much injury prone week in, week out. Renew your deal and I'll let you go. That is the only way I would let Pedri play in the Olympics. Other than that, I'd give him the big fat hell no. If he came to me and begged me as if I'm his father and he's my child, I would say absolutely not. There's no way the club are this stupid to let him go again. Of course, Pedri, I think, will have a big factor. If he says yes, the club will not want to disappoint where their star players are on the face of the club. But bloody hell, we're going to be going to the next season, new manager, new signings, hopefully with big ambitions after this season, which absolutely flopped. Keep in mind, we're going to go trophyless this season. We ain't win La Liga. We ain't win the Champions League. We're going to be pushing a lot for that season. And of course, Pedri is a very integral part of our team. Your best friend Gavi is going to be back by then. You really want to risk all that for an Olympic? To be fair, gold, you know, if you win gold, then fair enough. But what if you crash out, you just go and you go for nothing? Of course, last time he went, they lost in the final. He got silver. I think it was him, Eric Garcia, and someone else went for Spain. I forget who. Was it Ansu? Anyways, that's beside the point. So keep your eyes on this. Spain are eyeing to use Pedri for the Euros and the Olympics. We could see Pedri play first team intense football until end of July. If Spain make it all the way to the Euro final and the Olympic final, maybe even beginning of August. In that case, he won't even be fit for the start of next season because he's going to need a break. So very complicated situation. But again, if Barcelona are smart, they will make him renew his contract before he goes on this endeavor if the player wants him himself. So wait and see how things turn out. But again, Spain are eyeing to use Pedri for both the Euros and Summer Olympics this summer. Let's now discuss some of the injury updates around the first team at Barcelona. Firstly, we do have some positive injury news. Finally, it is coming in from Javi Miguel from AES. As we saw the pictures over the past few days, Ter Stegen and Raphinha have returned to first team training. And again, Javi Miguel from AES came out saying that everything indicates that Marc-Andre Ter Stegen will start against Granada this Sunday. The journey of Inaki Peña is over. I've never been more relieved to see a player leave the starting lineup in my life. Bloody hell. Raphinha and Sergi Roberto also expected to get the medical green light ahead of that match, but most likely will not be involved from the start, which is fine. The club's priority, Xavi's priority, Raphinha, fully fit, ready to go to start against Napoli. No Ferran Torres, no Joao Felix. Let's pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Lamine Yamal survives to the Napoli game, but bloody hell do we need Raphinha back for that game. So hopefully Raphinha comes on 20 minutes, 10 minutes against Granada, we come on half an hour against Celta Vigo, then he can start the game against Napoli with Roberto. I don't care. Let's be honest, Roberto can take his sweet old time for all I care. Now on to more, not serious injury news, but a bit of a concern. One is that of Joao Cancelo. Now, Fran Martinez from Deportivo came out saying that Joao Cancelo forced himself to return as soon as possible, but he has played matches with a bulky bandage, of course, on that left knee. I will say this, though. Forced himself to return? Bloody hell, we tried to get him back for the Super Cup final. That's when we were forcing him. I think he came back at a very adequate time to recover from his injury. I think, again, all this forcing stuff, I don't really see it. I mean, we took his time with Cancelo. He wasn't ready. He traveled to Saudi. Oh, he could potentially play in a potential cup final if we do made it. We made it. He wasn't close. I think the game afterwards, Unionistas in the Copa del Rey, he didn't play. Afterwards against Betis and the 4-2, he wasn't there either. I think Cancelo did recover in the time that he needed. But anyways, in fact, since the injury, he has never overcame the discomfort totally, which has affected his movement and caused some overloads. Of course, we saw that in the game against Osasuna. We also saw that in the game against Alaves as well. Barcelona now hope that this full week of rest can help him recover 100%. He is expected, of course, to be available for the match against Granada. Look, Cancelo, dare I say it, has been our most consistent and high-performing level player of the season. The man's on loan. He's probably, I'm already looking at my season review video, and I got that star player of the season for Cancelo already loading in my head. We cannot risk him. We are now coming into a point of the season where everything for us rides on Champions League success. In the sense that if we just get past the quarterfinals, we may be able to say, you know what, this season, there's been some improvements. And Cancelo is needed for that. We cannot go into, Napoli games and quarterfinals of Champions League game with Hector Fort and Koundé as our fullbacks. We will get cooked. So hopefully we take our time with Cancelo. Again, if you told me bench him against Granada, he'll be fully fit against Celta, and then Napoli continue on, that might be the best avenue for the club to take. So wait and see on that. Now, a final injury update is on Marc Guiu. You're probably wondering, Guiu's our first team member. Why do you care about him? Well, Lewandowski is playing week in, week out. He's knackered. And of course, Vitor Roque could potentially be suspended for the match against Granada this weekend. So Marc Guiu is going to be the backup striker. But he's now also picked up an injury. I think he played for Barca Athletic in the UEFA Youth League or something like that, and he got injured in that game. But Ferran Martinez from Mundo Deportivo came out saying that Marc Guiu ended Barca Athletic's match against Logroñés with discomfort in his right thigh and thus did not travel to Mens for the UEFA Youth League match. He is expected though to be available for the match against Granada on Sunday, so he'll miss the Champions League game for the youth team, but he will be available for the first team on Sunday. Again, you're probably thinking, oh, we want to, at least win the Youth Champions League. If the first team are not going to win it, blah, blah, blah. The first team at Barcelona is always the priority. We saw, of course, remember, during COVID, when Barca Athletic were trying to get promoted, we had Ansu Fati, Ricky Push, but we took them with us to the Champions League, and we didn't even use them, because, again, this has always been the philosophy of Barcelona. The first team is the priority. So, hopefully, Guiu will be fully fit and available for the game against Sunday. That probably means, again, Lewandowski is going to start unless Vitor Roque's appeal gets overturned, but hopefully he is going to be available to come off the bench and give Lewandowski some rest in that match. Now, the final topic that I want to discuss before I end off this video is to go through Deco's interview with La Vanguardia. I think it's probably the second time where Deco, as a sporting director of Barcelona, has sat down with a media outlet and answering questions to the fullest extent. Of course, a few days ago, Laporta did his interview with Raphinha, so I guess this is kind of the club giving a brief to the media a little bit. Of course, as a sporting director, like Laporta said in that Raphinha interview before the match against, who did we play in the last game? Alaves, he does give a lot of the control to Deco in regards to signing players, selling players, and even appointing a new manager. So let's get to see what Deco said in this interview. He came out firstly talking about the Alaves game. We played a lot of games in a row, and winning gives us peace of mind. I like to review the game the next day because it makes everything clearer. February is the time to think about the future, meeting with scouts, financial analysis to know what we can do and what we can't do. But we've been like this for months. So he likes to watch all the games back again, which again I think is a good thing. In February, he's gonna be looking at some scouts, maybe looking at some plans for the summer transfer market, of course, as for looking for a new manager as well. He said that we will appeal the Vitor Roque red card is a normal action. Again, that's already been confirmed in the media. Then he's asked on VAR and referees and stuff like that, saying I have many doubts about VAR. It is disoriented the viewer. We don't know why the referee is interviewing and why not. You have to have a lot of conviction to give that second yellow card for Roque without consulting. I know that the rules say that what they say, but setting off could have had a big condition on the match. I focus on VAR. It needs to be improved a lot and to be worked on beyond confirming whether the ball has gone in or gone out. It is interpretive matters where there are doubts in penalties, handballs, offside. VAR can't be a tool that generates the most problems. It should be an agile. It should be, of course, the opposite. Got a point there as well. Remember the news that came out, I think, middle of December that, the Spanish Federation have announced that all VAR communication and talks will be revealed after the games. They haven't done that since, so take that as you will. He was then asked on the, Payne Nogueira, if him as a player ever felt that he was influenced by the referees, and Deco started laughing, saying, I was helped by Eto's goals, Ronaldinho's moves, Iniesta, Xavi, Valdez's saves, Puyol, Marquez changing the play. I did not believe I had any other influence apart from that. He then asked him Barcelona aspired to win the Champions League or La Liga title this year. He said, I want to make it clear that this team was never asked to win. What they were asked to do is to compete, because you can compete well and the chance of winning increase. And if you ask me today, I believe that the league title is not over yet. Woo! Alright, so again, he's being very, very professional. There's no priority for Barcelona to win stuff. It's about competing, which again, competing leads to winning. He's sitting on the fence a little bit after we've had a pretty shocking first 5-6 months of the season. Saturday's victory gives us some hope, and the next matches before Napoli will be important for us and for our rivals as well. I'm happy when we compete like we did on Saturday with that maturity. Xavi and the president know that. I've always told them that if we're lucky enough to have a full squad, we can go far. If we go all out, we are an important team. Now, Laporta and Deco have been saying this a lot. If we have a fully fit squad, we know that we're one of the best teams in the world, which is probably true. So how about instead of focusing on buying players, stuff like that, you maybe take, a month to analyze the medical staff, see what they do right, see what they do wrong, implement improvements. Maybe that way, when we go to next season, we have a fully fit squad for the majority of the season. Maybe something can happen. Again, injuries always happen in football, whether you play a player more than once, or maybe you get a double studs tackle and break your leg. Stuff like that happens. But when you get into niggling hamstring injuries, like Ferran Torres running for 2 minutes against Osasuna and pick up an injury, those are something that can definitely be looked at from the injury point of view. Now, Deco was asked, apart from injuries, is the squad competitive? He said, I got on board late in the season, but it was a good job done with the levers we signed, of course, Ferran Torres, Raphinha, Koundé, Lewandowski, players that allowed the team to compete better and even win the league. But things were missing, and we suffered a lot in Europe. Then asked on the departure of Xavi, saying that I understand the demand. I also understand Xavi's frustration at the not feeling valued. He came in as a Barcelona coach at an important moment for the club in which we must have put a lot of courage into him. He stood up for the club from where each person knows what extent things affect them and whether they were willing to endure it or not. But it did also mention, of course, it came as a surprise. He then asked on why Xavi is leaving, and he said that he has already explained it a lot. My feeling is that last year's league was not valued too much and it should have been done. The fans celebrated it, but the press and the general level downplayed its importance. I can say this, I was in the stadium when we celebrated the Champions League. I know all the fans there loved it. I think it was a very important league title, most clean sheet. The defense was absolutely immaculate. We looked good going forward. Again, a lot of 1-0 wins here and there, but winning the league after 3 years of not even competing is, of course, a beautiful sight to see. And again, the media did, I think, downplay it a little bit. Now, on the next coach, Deco did say, at the moment, we have not spoken with any coach. We're going to be looking for a coach that has the style of playing well and always having the ball based on that idea, each of their characteristics. But whoever comes in have to have ambition and hunger to do great things. So the criterias are there, but again, Deco has confirmed he has talked to no one at the moment. Now, of course, one of the main candidates in the media has been Hansi Flick. There are reports now coming in from Germany, from Christian Folk, saying that Hansi Flick is now learning Spanish. He's looking for a new challenge in the summer, and the job at Barcelona would appeal to him. So the fact that he's learning Spanish, he now has what, February, March, April, May, maybe even June, 5 solid months, at least get the language down pat a little bit, would definitely boost him up in the, potential contenders. I think he's definitely a contender in the sense because he's a, German, he's available, he has a good track record, but I don't think he's the ideal coach for Barcelona. I don't think Barcelona think he is either, or else they would have already pursued him by now. Anyways, let's continue. On Pep Guardiola in his first stage at Barcelona, Deco said that he was intelligent. When he arrived, he put order and quality as a coach until he built the best team I've ever seen in my life. He was smart, he knew not to waste time on other things. I would have liked to have worked with him to see him from the inside. Of course, Deco was famously one of the 3 players axed by Pep when he came in. Of course, it was Deco, Ronaldinho, and it's supposed to be Eto'o, but Eto'o stuck it out for 1 season, and then, of course, everyone convinced Pep to keep Eto'o. What a story that is. Anyways, on Vitor Roque, Deco said that he's a player who scores goals with a different profile than Marc Guiu. We don't have anyone who attacks the depth and asks for it from the spaces like Eto'o or Luis Suarez did. Well, without wanting to compare them, I did not buy it myself. So again, he's saying that it was a club decision, and again, he's a fantastic player who does have unique abilities that we've seen in the likes of Samuel Eto'o and Luis Suarez. On Vitor Roque, about signing him, he said that the press already killed him, the kid, before he started playing. Liverpool bought Darwin Nunez 2 years ago from Benfica for 90 million euros, and Newcastle paid 70 million euros for Alexander Isak. The price analysis must be done within a while, but it hasn't been paid crazy. It's 30 million, and then there's other sum of money depending on the performances, and I hope we paid them. So again, the Vitor Roque operation, I think, was brilliant. I think the media looked at it as 60 million euros for Vitor Roque altogether. That's a lot of money for a youngster coming in from Brazil, big risk. But you have to look at it broken down. Of course, it's 30 million fixed, paid in installments, 30 million euros in variables. And this is now about the 20th time the club have come out saying that if we pay any of those 30 million euros in variables to his club, happily pay it, which means it's going to be goals clause, assists, Ballon d'Ors, winning titles. It's going to be heavily affected on those things. So if Vitor Roque scores 30 goals, we win the Champions League in La Liga, or you're going to send Atletico Paranaense about 20 million. Absolutely no problem. So again, Deco now saying it, I hope we do end up paying those variables, which shows how big they are in terms of the success of Barcelona. Anyways, on Lamine Yamal, like I said, we are facing a different player because of the way he makes the decisions on the field, and above all because you can see him enjoying himself. At this age, it is the most important thing. Lamine is having more minutes than he should for his age due to the injuries. He's a teenager who has grown 10 centimeters in height this last year. I have a son his age, and I know what I'm talking about. So again, we can all agree, I think Deco, Laporta, Xavi, me and you, that Lamine Yamal is playing a ridiculous amount of minutes. We've seen this a lot with players in the past, Pedri, Xavi, Ansu Fati, these brilliant players that come through that have talent and can be, a staple on Barcelona's first team. They get overplayed and they become injury prone. We have to be very, very cautious with Lamine Yamal in that sense. Now, he then asked on the possibility of selling a big player this summer, whether it's going to be Araujo to Bayern Munich, Frenkie de Jong to the Premier League, and here is the big one. Deco said this: the idea is to not sell anyone, but to incorporate 1 or 2 players. Music to my ears. So Deco's saying we don't want to sell any big players this summer. We actually want to sign 1 or 2 big players to add on to what we currently have. Our young players will be more experienced now they have 1 year in the squad, and the squad will become more and more balanced. If we are forced to sell, we will try to do so without touching the heart of the team. I don't know, man. I still think Araujo is gone. If I'm being completely honest, I think Deco here is playing with the media. Again, we won't know the financial player margin for Barcelona in the summer until I believe February 19th, February 20th. There's no way we're having FFP problems in January, then all of a sudden in the summer we're not going to have FFP problems. I think the club do need to sell a player, whether it's Raphinha, Frenkie, Araujo, Koundé, Christensen, maybe even Lewandowski somewhere to MLS or Saudi, remains to be seen. But Deco, I think, having that key line there at the end. If we do have to sell, we will try our best not to touch the heart of the team. Who's in the heart of the team? Araujo, Frenkie, Koundé. You could argue Christensen, but, maybe not too much. So, I like that message, but again, if I'm being honest, as someone who's been following the media in Barcelona for 10 plus years, I don't buy it. We'll wait and see on that. And finally, Deco was asked on the two Joaos whether or not they will stay at the club past this summer, and he said it will depend on many things because they are players who are not ours, but we will try. So, again, that's as we expected. I think Cancelo will be a very not easy operation, but one that the club can execute. With Felix, that's where the big question comes in. First, you have to decide whether or not you want him or not. Then you have to go negotiate with Atletico Madrid. Probably have to squeeze in another loan with a buy option for next season. I doubt we can buy Felix this summer. If we spend more than 40 million package on Felix this summer and we don't get a DM, I would fire Deco tomorrow. That is the reality of the case. But overall, that does conclude Deco's interview with La Vanguardia. Again, good insights on, I think, the last two quotes that were the big ones on selling big players this summer and on the Joao staying. Of course, gave us an insight on Vitor Roque, Lamine Yamal, the new manager coming in as well. He has a big job ahead of him this summer, of course, appointing a new manager and signing key players. Again, we need to pivot. We need wingers. We might need fullbacks as well. And this is going to be the summer of Deco. Of course, last summer was mainly Mateo and Eman, Jordi Cruyff kind of finishing the job they started. But this summer, it's going to be all on Deco, and let's hope he makes us all proud. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past 48 hours. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and of course leave me your thoughts down below in the comments on everything we discussed. The main thing I want to see, of course, is your thoughts on the exit of Sergi Roberto. I think it's the correct decision or not. Second, your thoughts on the future of Lewandowski. Would you want to keep him this summer on his current wages? Would you reduce his wages, or would you just cut losses with him? Maybe go and sign another striker. And finally, your thoughts on the interview that Deco conducted with La Vanguardia. And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already. And I will see you guys next time on the channel. Take care and Forza Barca.